What I'm about to share with you regarding the latest gold bar scam is a prime example of education and common sense being key, and also the power of gold and anonymity. I'll explain as we explore. Gold is the ultimate store of wealth, and criminals know this all too well. And there's yet another case of a gold scam that is going around, this time involving real gold and real legitimate purchases as well. And this is why it's so important that we look out for each other, and that's what I'm trying to do here on this channel. But also local coin shops should also keep their ears and eyes open for situations like this. If somebody comes into your local coin shop and wants to buy, hundreds of thousands of dollars of gold bars, you might want to point them to a sign or something that you have in there that talks about what this scam is about. So I'm going to be reporting from the same source that I did before. And this is the same type of crime that's going on in Montgomery County, Maryland. This is crazy. And how this does give you an idea of how spreading the word can help get these perpetrators. And a 74-year-old Bethesda, Maryland man was scammed out of more than $1 million that he converted to gold bars and then unwittingly handed over to fraudsters, according to police in Montgomery County, as been reported here by WTOP News. It is the latest example of what seems to be a growing trend among scams involving gold bars. You've heard me report, I have a whole playlist on this channel of precious metal crimes. But there's quite some time ago when people would be selling gold bars at gas stations. They would come up to you and say, "Hey, my family needs help and assistance. So I've got to sell this gold bar. I'll sell it to you at a really good price because we're desperate for money." And you buy it for maybe, $500 under spot or something crazy. And you got a good deal, and they get some cash in their hands, only to find out that the gold bar is fake. This one involves real, genuine gold bars, like what you see here before you. And so this 74-year-old man, well, he found out in one way that maybe, just maybe, he might get some justice, but at least in part. It's the latest example of what seems to be this growing trend that's been going around, especially the second one now in Montgomery County, Maryland. The alleged scammer this time was a 52-year-old Vipul J. Thakkar of Owing Mills, who was arrested just this past week after picking up the last payment of gold bars from the victim's home. According to a news release that the police sent out, Thakkar had been charged with multiple counts of attempted theft and is being held without bond. The scam started back in March when the Bethesda man received an email saying a suspicious deposit had been made into his bank account. He was instructed to convert his money into gold, purportedly to protect his assets. On the one hand, that may sound like a good plan, and in fact, it's what many of us in this community say, that we need to definitely protect our assets, for sure. And we protect our assets with gold. Why? Well, because cash is a losing proposition. And in fact, anything that's done digitally can be tracked and traced. Gold can't. And the criminals are using that to their advantage. On 10 separate occasions between March and June of this year, the man purchased a total of $1.1 million in gold bars and arranged to have the bars picked up by associates of the subject, police said. It wasn't until the man made the final purchase of more than $240,000 in gold bars that he saw a local news report about an 82-year-old Montgomery County woman who had been scammed out of $900,000 in a similar scheme. Story that I reported on here from the same source. He then contacted Montgomery County Police Department's Financial Crime Section. So, a Montgomery County detective communicated with the suspect, later identified as Thakkar, and arranged a pickup at the Bethesda man's home. Posing as the victim, the detective handed a package to Thacker, who then got into a car and drove away. And that was pretty smart of the police to do that. And then they stopped Thacker and he was arrested. Although I think they should have let him go and see where it went and see if it's a wider ring. It very well could have been. Officials say the county is seeing more than these types of scams, often involving older people who are told to convert their money in their bank accounts into gold bars. Now, as you may remember, I talked about this recently. In the case of the 82-year-old woman victimized earlier in the month, police have arrested a 19-year-old New York City resident. And this is why I put my video out, call to all local coin shop owners to watch that video. Did not get very many views, but I hope you will still take that video and spread it around. And maybe this one too. I think local coin shops could really help put a stop to a lot of this. Obviously, online dealers are going to have less resources and are not as directly connected, but there are things that local coin shops can do, and I've made mention of what they can be. I'll post a link to that video at the end screen of this video, but nonetheless, this case of the 82-year-old woman victimized, and they've arrested this 19-year-old suspect. Montgomery County State's Attorney John McCarthy told WTOP earlier this month that there have been at least 17 victims of these type of scams in the county, in one county, who've lost millions of dollars in total. So this is something that is rampant in Montgomery County, Maryland. There are people losing their life savings to this scam, and it's not just here in Montgomery County, it's across the country. This is a big deal, and there cannot be enough said about this, I think. And so hopefully, if you want to get the news out, if you can share this video right here on your social media platforms to get the word out. This is something that many people need to know, and the more that know, the better. It can be difficult to recover the money for the victims, the money being the gold bars, and they're correct in calling it that, by the way, because this is sound money. The reality is getting back those gold bars is very tough, and like in the previous case, they've not been able to recover those. And are they even in the country? Have they been melted down, changed into other forms? They're essentially not traceable, McCarthy told WTOP, and that's exactly. Who says that criminals are stupid? No, there's some very sophisticated crimes going on, and when you organize it, you got organized crime, which likely this is probably a part of some larger organized crime syndicate, and people, especially in retirement communities and the like, especially wealthy in those retirement communities, you're starting to see more and more of this stuff occur, and it's really scary and unfortunate. I feel bad for the victims, but you have to educate yourself, and that's part of why videos like this exist. And of course, seeing the news and paying attention to the news is important too, and this is how this individual found out about it. Imagine had he not found out or heard that news report. Can you imagine what would happen? He would just be totally without any kind of recourse. And of course, even now, thankfully, he contacted them in time to arrest the individual, but had he waited and not heard that news report, who knows where, if he would have gotten any justice. But the fact this is one of 17 now in the county, boy, it's a problem, and not just there, but across the nation. So, as is the case, common sense obviously applies here. Anybody telling you that they're from the government and they're there to help and what have you, well, always be very careful and cautious. No federal agent is going to tell you to buy gold to protect yourself. It's outside of their nature anyway. But, this is something that is quite a problem for sure. And so you have to just think about what's going on here. What are they trying to do? And don't panic if somebody comes to you and say, well, your accounts are compromised, and the only way to really protect yourself is to get gold bars or what have you. Scams come in many different forms, and it's just a shame that this is happening. Gold in of itself does not have an agenda. All it does is sit there and exist. And criminals know this, but so do the good guys too. And this is why many of us have gold in our possession. So in this case, the person bought them legally and handed them over to the scammer. And likely some of these individuals, unless they were explicitly instructed to buy from an online bullion dealer, it's likely he'd probably purchase it from a local coin shop. So fascinating indeed. Let me know what your thoughts are. One of these types of stories, and there are more will to come, but would love to see and find out if this is part of a larger ring, maybe even a nationwide ring of this type of thing going on. And love to see it get busted up, for sure. And where is the gold? Is it already in Dubai? Could be. It's hard to tell. I hope they can find out and trace it and recover it, in whatever form it could be, and get it back to the rightful owners. It's sad to see people lose out their life savings like this. Let me know what your thoughts are. I like to do stories like this where I bring you the latest news and information in the world of precious metals. It's what I do here. And if you find this content informative, insightful, and educational, hope you will press that thumbs up button down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And stay tuned, and more videos will be coming as usual. So I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.